water of Zamzam. It's the blessed water.
املأ فؤادك باليقين واروي العطاش الذاكرين من ماء زمزم يرتوي القلب ويخفق بالحنين. طوبى لجيش العاملين ملأوا وعاء الخير من بئر السماء من بعد ما حاز القبول على النقاء، فتزاحمت قطراته مثل الندى تسقي قلوب المؤمنين. ساروا به ركب المنى شرب الحجيج وقد أفاضوا بالسنى. مرحى لمن مدوا أياديهم بأكواب الهنا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to everyone watching at home to Wednesday's episode of Ask Eman, where we're going to be here for the next 45 minutes with you, brothers and sisters, to take your questions about your life as a Muslim and get them answered authentically according to the Quran and Sunnah, inshallah. So I'll be your host for today, and joining us is Shaykh Suliman Gani. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's been a very long time, Shaykh, since we've done a show together anyway. Brother Mahmoud told me you've been back. I didn't even know.
Jazakallah for having me on your program.
You're welcome, Shaykh. Don't delay call today. So to call us, brothers and sisters, the number you dial is the usual number on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send your questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, and if we're streaming right now on either YouTube or Facebook, you're able to leave your question at the comment section, inshallah. So, Shaykh, I'd like to first welcome you, very warm welcome. Welcome back to Ask Eman, with me anyway. I know you've done some shows with Mahmoud. And I'd like to ask you, Shaykh, to start our show, as usual, for a short reminder on any topic you think will be of benefit to us and the viewers, inshallah.
Yes, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Given that it is very fresh on my mind visiting and meeting a brother whose child was born around 16th of January at 24 weeks. So after 4 months, mashallah, we find that the baby was discharged, released, and was able for the first time to hold the baby and think and reflect that here is a miracle of Allah. On one hand, we see that what was the condition of the parents, how was the mother feeling every day that was passing by, so much of worry she's having, that this child, it was so small you could actually hold it in your arm, in your hand. And mashallah, by the qadr and decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we say, وَمَا تَدْرِ نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا. No person knows what is going to happen tomorrow. When we think again that yes, indeed, the miracle of Allah, that just like when the child is born, it has already been decreed. بِكَتْبِ رِزْقِهِ وَعَمَلِهِ. Its rizq has already been recorded, sustenance, the ajal, the lifespan, and shaqi, sa'id, all that has been recorded, the action of the person, the individual. But on the other hand, before coming here to meet another and to visit another person, 49 years of age, suffers a stroke, and meeting his brother, it comes unexpectedly, and that is the reality of life. On one hand, here is a child, it was like saying, unbelievable that such a small, so feeble, so weak, and Allah Ta'ala, by His decree, the child survives and the child is living. and alhamdulillah improving. And on the other hand, somebody lives 40 years, 49 years of his life go, and suddenly the condition becomes such that he is in the critical, that's the so it's like saying, take advantage of the life that Allah has given us before death. Take advantage of the siha and the good health before we become sick. Take advantage of the free time before we become so preoccupied. Take advantage of your shabab in the young age before we become old. Take advantage of wealth before poverty. And this is in the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Ta'ala give us all the understanding and tawfiq to live every day as if though it was our last day in this dunya. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Shaykh Suliman, for your reminder. I'm sure it benefited everyone at home. It definitely benefited me, Shaykh.
Yes, his name is Mukhtar Ahmed, so if people can make special dua for him. He lives in Purley area in South London, and 2 kids, 1 big and 3, and can make dua for him, inshallah.
We will do. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. That brings us to the end of this part of our show. We're going to take a short break now, and then we'll be back after a few minutes, inshallah. Once we're back, you're able to give us a call or send us your questions, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone watching at home, and welcome back to today's Ask Eman show. We're going to be here for another 30 minutes, inshallah, to continue with our show with our dear Shaykh Suliman Gani. Shaykh, welcome back after the break. Our next question, Shaykh, is going to be from our caller, actually, and then we'll move on to some other questions through the rest of the show, inshallah. So, assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. My name's Shamsul Gani. I'm calling from Leeds.
MashaAllah. You got the same name as the Shaykh Suliman Gani.
No, my son has got the same name as the Shaykh. He's called Suliman Gani.
Oh wow, MashaAllah. Allahumma barik, Allahumma barik.
So I was just saying to my wife, inshallah, if one day it's my son on the channel replacing the Shaykh, doing the same job, then that would be a very proud day.
Ameen, Ameen. May Allah make that so.
MashaAllah,
May Allah
MashaAllah.
make that so. And your question, brother?
Okay, so my question is basically, I've got buildings insurance. So not contents insurance, just the buildings insurance. I don't have a mortgage, alhamdulillah, I paid that off, but I've got buildings insurance. So that's due for renewal, but I've been doing some research and I've found some instructions saying that it's not halal because there's different elements. So one element is that there's riba involved. There's another element which is ultimately you're claiming more than what you're going to put in. So I'm not sure whether to renew it or not renew it. And then the second part of it is that we have like a committee fund like a burial fund where you put in like £50 every year. And then if you die, they cover all your expenses. Isn't that a bit like building insurance? Well, I'm only putting in £50, but if I die, the burial costs are going to be like £5,000. So is that permitted as well? So if you're able to shed some clarity on that, that'd be really appreciated. Jazakallah.
Oh, yeah. You got the question, Shaykh?
Yeah, I mean about the insurance. Because anything, I think as you already pointed out that you already have some wavering and you also know that you are contributing anything in excess, meaning it may be that you keep on contributing and it's not reciprocal. So this is the element of ambiguity, because there's no guarantee, and that is the reason why it's a very gray area, especially when it comes to matters of insurance. Are there any other alternative arrangements anyway, in case there is an emergency, in case there is a disaster? So one would have to look. It's more about people knowing what type of security they have in case there is some qadar Allah, something may happen. So, but the main point is, as you know that you have that already doubt in your heart, and you are wavering, and you've consulted your heart, and you're still feeling that uneasiness. You're actually feeling that this is similar and there is an element of riba and interest, and usually it's very, very similar. Hence, it is better to فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. There may be people who are more knowledgeable in this field and they are the experts, and people who are specialists in Islamic finance. It's better to try and consult with somebody that is in this field and is working with Islamic finance. Hopefully he may provide for you some type of alternative. Takaful, what type of alternative there is, that ta'meen and giving you that safety and security. And I'm sure there is many different people who are engaging in different types of Islamic finance in your locality. Hopefully they're in Leeds that can help you, inshallah. But we cannot give you a clear answer on that matter. But we say, if in doubt, leave it out.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
And that burial fund, I think it is permissible for you if you want to contribute towards a fund, and if it is a monthly arrangement, and whatever accumulate over the year, and the time comes, if the need arises, and it makes it easy to cover the cost of the burial expense, so that is permissible and allowed. So that is obviously a burial fund, making it easy for the family and all those who are going to execute on all those part of preparing your Islamic will, and to make people aware, because when somebody passes away, the first thing that needs to be taken off when the estate is wound up is the burial expense, and then to pay off the debts. Now the burial expense is important to be covered. So who is going to pay for that? That is paid from the money of the deceased. Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Thank you very much for your answer. Our next question, Shaykh, is going to be from our WhatsApp questions. And the question is it better to pray tahajjud with family and my children and my husband, but my husband, he's not good in Quran at all? Can I lead the prayer, or is that permitted in Islam?
I mean, tahajjud and all this prayer, this is optional prayer. It is done where you offering your own prayer, and each one performs their own prayer, so you don't lead in congregation. This is not a prayer that is done in jama'ah, it's not done in congregation, so you do your individual ibadah and you stand and offer your prayer. And if your husband offers his prayer, he doesn't have to read many long surahs, that it's all those whatever surahs, and even if it is a short surah, a chapter of a Quran that he has memorized, that is sufficient, because it is that action that is done very close to the beginning of the Fajr time, and if it is in the last portion of the night where du'as are readily accepted, so that intention inshallah you can offer your prayer, and no doubt it is a very important time, especially in the month of Ramadan, where we have very, very short nights, and given that there are those, in fact it is important to point out, when you are speaking about tahajjud prayer, you know, the tarawih prayer, think about the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man qama, whoever stands with iman and ihtisab, ghufira lahu ma taqaddam min dhanbi, all his previous sins are forgiven. So the moment your Isha prayer enters, after the Isha, all that is also you can offer. It's like saying your tahajjud time. The nights are short. Stand and doing your qiyamul layl and doing your tarawih prayer, followed by the 3 witr prayer. And the witr for the men, you do it in jama'ah in the masjid behind the imam, and that inshallah will be counted as your tahajjud time.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.
Jazakallah khairan. Next
Thank
question.
you, Shaykh. Yes. Our next question is, how can we make the most of the last 10 days of Ramadan?
Subhanallah, the last 10 nights of the blessed month of Ramadan, and indeed it is about knowing and understanding what is the virtue, what is the merit, what is the standing of the prayer on night of power. Man qama laylatal qadri, whoever stands on the night of power with iman and ihtisab, with iman and hoping, to earn that reward. Ghufira lahu ma taqaddam min dhanbi, that is, your sins are forgiven, all of your sins. So it means that we do not know when exactly is the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadri. We read, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadri. Laylatul Qadri khayrum min alfi shahr. It is a night which is better than 1,000 months.
Stop you there, Shaykh. We have to take a short break and we'll come back to conclude those verses. Is that okay, Shaykh?
Barakallah.
Thank you so much. Allah barak fik, Shaykh. We're going to take a few minutes break now, brothers and sisters, and as soon as we're back, we'll continue where our dear Shaykh left off. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ask Eman Wednesday show, inshallah today, where we're here joined with Shaykh Suliman Gani to answer your questions, brothers and sisters, and get them answered for you.
Yes, mashallah, I can see you are fasting today.
I've been fasting every day,
Oh,
Shaykh.
sorry.
So, Shaykh, before we go to finish where you, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just to finish your question, Shaykh, yes.
So yes, we were busy with the night of Laylatul Qadr, and we were explaining that this is the night we do not know, and even I would suggest and recommend and highly recommend we should look for it on every night, not only the odd nights and even nights. And even our even night could be an odd night, and our odd night could be an even night.
It's true.
Because we had a lot of confusion with the beginning and commencement of the beginning of the month of Ramadan. People are, we say, sumu li ru'yatihi. You have to look for the fast in the month of Ramadan with the sighting of the hilal. So instead of doing moon sighting, people are doing moon fighting. So therefore we have confusion with the beginning, and it is in the UK every year. So there will be those who will be commencing, enter into the last 10 nights of i'tikaf, some before others, one day difference. So every night, so we don't want to do miss the night of Laylatul Qadr. So when you are saying, I would recommend and highly recommend that every night is a very special night, and it is the night which is better than 1,000 months. And if you are standing on the night of Laylatul Qadr, then remember your Taraweeh prayer and your Salatul Witr. And do you know, I must add also that we're going to enter into abnormal period of time from 23rd of May. So there will be those also will have the difference in the beginning of the Fajr time. Hence, it's like saying your Isha prayer and your Taraweeh and your Witr prayer and your Sahri, وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ, all that will be counted as your spending your entire night in Laylatul Qadr, night which is better than 1,000 months. So subhanallah, this is a very great blessing and ni'mah that we have. And indeed Allah Ta'ala, we also advise you to read what Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Al-Qadr, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. So if the malaika and the angels and Ruh is Jibreel alayhi salam descending with every matter, every decree, Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr, sending salam and greeting until the break of dawn. Fortunate indeed are those who spend this very special nights in the ibadah, in the worship of Allah. We cannot waste time. Every moment, every time, every second that is passing by is very, very crucial, very important. May Allah Ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to value the remaining nights of the blessed month of Ramadan, inshaAllah.
Ameen, Shaykh. Ameen. Thank you so much, Shaykh. So before we move on to our next question regarding our timings, Shaykh, we're going to take our next caller,
Yes.
and then we'll come back to that. So assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? One more time. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, we'll move on. Shaykh, my next question is,
Yes.
there are sometimes people may come across, or we may come across, some calendars about Salah timings and Fajr and so on, and we may find that we know some have two Asr timings. We understand that,
Okay.
because there's that difference of opinion. So we have a difference now in Fajr. There are two timings when Fajr starts.
Okay.
Correct, Sheikh? Maybe an earlier time around 1:30 or something like that. So how do we understand that, Sheikh?
I think it's very interesting that you have raised this also. The previous program, there was a question actually raised on the very same issue, and you have touched it at a very important moment in time, because every year in London, for 2 months of the year, we have abnormal period of time. There was some YouTube and link somebody sent that there is somebody there in Norway, if I'm not mistaken, Brother Abdul Hakim, and he is actually recording himself observing the sun, and it is people are sleeping.
Sun or the moon.
and meaning it is no sunset.
Oh, okay.
So it is 6 months of the year. You know,
Okay.
the sun is just in the air. It is not setting. There's no sunset, and so they have to follow a calculation, obviously for breaking the fast. But here in the UK, we have an abnormal period of time, and our abnormal period of time means the sun doesn't go below the horizon sufficient enough to abolish the twilight. From the 23rd of May to the 21st of July here in London only. When you go up north and you go to places and Leicester and you go Batley and you go, if you go to Scotland and it's Aberdeen and those places, that is from the 1st of May. So it all depends where your location is, but from London, the abnormal period where sun doesn't go below the horizon, sufficient enough to abolish the twilight. So if normally, to understand the true nature of Subh Sadiq is when it is time for sunrise. The sun reaches the angle depression below the horizon at 18 degrees. When it reaches 18 degrees below the horizon, and that is where the difference is. How low below the horizon is the sun, where you can start observing the true nature of true dawn. And we find that those who understand and they have been out to observe this phenomena which is known as the twilight, when does it emerge, when does it begin, when does it lights are spreading on the horizon? It has to be observed in a location where there is no light pollution. You cannot observe it in the center of London, you cannot do it in Blackburn, you cannot do it in the center of Birmingham. It has to be at a very special location away from light pollution. And for those who understand it, they have found that their observation matches at high altitude countries like over 48 degrees. It occurs much earlier in the summertime, and that is the reason why there is a timetable which is showing you very early times while people are commence their Fajr. In fact, only yesterday we followed the criteria of Akrabul Ayyam, using the last day where you have normal Subh Sadiq occurring. That was 1 hour 27 minutes. But there are those who divide the sunset and the beginning of Fajr, meaning and into half, and that's called Nisful Layl, and that gives you an earlier timing also. So what do we do when we enter into abnormal period of time? We use a criteria called Akrabul Ayyam, and I will be commencing my fast tomorrow at 1 hour 23 minutes. That is your beginning of your Fajr, and there are those who are showing you much later time. So I cannot go into the discussion for those who are giving the later time. It's for you to find out what criteria has been used. Allah reward you.
I mean, Shaykh, thank you so much for all of that. I actually understood all of that for the first time, Shaykh. So Jazakallah khair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the whole 18 degrees thing. So we're gonna go for a quick break, Shaykh, and then we'll be back for the rest of our show. Is that okay with you, Shaykh?
Barakallah fiqh. I love short breaks.
Okay, we'll be back after a few minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back after our short break, as Shaykh Suliman Gani likes them, from our break. So we're back now for the last part of our show, inshallah. Welcome back, Shaykh, after our short break.
Jazakallah khairan for welcoming me back to your program.
Thank you, Shaykh. So thank you, Shaykh, for going through the timings with us. May Allah reward you. So we'll move on now, Shaykh, to our next question from WhatsApp.
Okay.
And we welcome any of our brothers and sisters that are watching to not delay to call today.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. So our next question is, can women pray Taraweeh at home, and will they get the same reward as if they prayed in the masjid, if they do pray at home?
The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam generally is for لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. So we do not stop women if they want to go to the masajid, to the house of Allah. They are allowed to offer their prayer there. There is no doubt that the woman want to earn reward, but Allah Ta'ala has made that she generally, even she may have a lot of other duties, she may have a lot of other work, she may have a lot of other preparation, she have children, she has to take care of many issues at home. So even if she's, offers her prayer in her own convenience, and we know I have my own kids, I know the small one needs to go to sleep, he needs to be fed, he needs to be prepared because he needs to go to the school the next day, and women have at home with the children, it becomes much easier for them. وَبُيُوتُهُنَّ خَيْرٌ لَهُنَّ, and even their homes are better for them. And this was the statement of the Prophet ﷺ when in Medina, and there is Masjid al-Nabawi. We know that every salah that you perform inside Masjid al-Nabawi, it's multiplied 1,000 times, for example. And your salah in Jama'ah is multiplied in any other masjid, 27 times more rewarding. But for the woman, she offers a prayer in a masjid, she offers it at home, she gets the same reward. So therefore Islam has made it very easy, and there is no compulsion for women to go to the masjid.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is, can I read Quran using an app whilst on menstrual cycle, and do I need to have wudu?
So has this question been answered before?
Many times.
So what's the answer?
Oh, Shaykh, I'm not the Shaykh.
I mean, it all depends, because right now, there is a verse in the Quran, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون, that one should not touch the mushaf except those that are in a state of purity. And if we know that it is not allowed, there is one narration, especially which is from the Ahnaf opinion, and those who are following the school, لا يقرأ شيئا من القرآن الحائض ولا الجنوب. Haid is one that is in the state of menstruation, and the one that is in the state of impurity. So they will not read any portion of the Quran. So leave alone, we are speaking about touching. It is saying if you have to read any ayat or any verses with the intention of azkar, with the intention of dua, then that is permissible. And if one wants to understand and read the translation, then it is highly recommended, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We'll go to our next call now. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Amina. I'm calling from Leeds.
Welcome to the show, sister. And your question for us today?
My question is, if somebody break a fast and it's not yet time, like 1 hour before, the iftar should be 9:05, but the passing thought is 9:08. So he already ate, but when he was eating, he had a call. Somebody told him it's not yet time for iftar. So immediately he stopped eating that time. So he's asking whether he have to fast that day back again after Ramadan, or did he still have that day?
Okay, so did you say break fast a whole hour before iftar, or did you just say 5 minutes?
No, whole hour.
A whole hour?
Last week was 9:05, but he thought it's 9:08,
Oh,
so he
understood.
break it 1 hour before iftar.
So it was a mistake? It was a mistake?
Yeah, it was a mistake.
Okay.
He don't know.
Understood. Do you have any other questions for us today?
No, that's the only question.
Okay, well, yeah, Jazakallah khair. Keep watching and the Shaykh will answer that now, inshallah. Isn't that,
Yes, I mean anything that is a genuine, it is a mistake, it was not done intentionally, then one, as soon as it's brought to your attention, then one will continue to fast until the sunset, even if it was just 1 hour before. The most important point is, yes, we have to be very careful, understand, because it's quite serious. Can somebody who, this will, we cannot go into the discussion and understand, but each person knows himself. If he made a genuine mistake, then the fast, otherwise, if what I'm trying to point out, if it was a deliberate mistake, then there is kafara. But if it is only a mistake and if somebody then reminded him the fast is not broken, then he can continue. But it is recommended if he wants to make one qada after Ramadan, then it would be allowed for him.
Thank you,
Allah
Shaykh.
knows best.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We'll go to our next caller now. Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and what's your question?
I don't want to give my name, but I've got 2 questions today.
You can go ahead.
The first question is that how do you deal with like family members that verbally, physically, and emotionally abuse you? And the second question is like what should you do like if rumors are being spread about you?
Okay. Thank you so much for your question. Stay tuned, sister, and we'll get that answered by the Shaykh, inshallah. Thank you for your call. We'll go to our next caller, Shaykh, and then come back to the rest of the questions. Is that okay? Assalamu alaikum to our caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question for us today?
Walaikum salam. Just very quickly, the Shaykh was talking about the 18-degree prayer time. If the sun, if Fajr starts at the time of astronomical twilight, before which is night, when does false dawn come in?
When does full dawn come in?
False dawn.
False dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then.
Because there's false dawn and true dawn, isn't it? So when does the false dawn come in?
Got
if
it.
Fajr time is straight after night, which is the astronomical twilight time.
Got it. All right then.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Yes, Shaykh, those words lost me because I don't know. But you
Yes,
know.
mashallah.
You know, mashallah. Can we start with the last question and then go backwards?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of it, you have the false dawn and you have the true dawn. And when that light first starts appearing, you know, like the shape of the tail of the wolf, as it has been described in the books of fiqh. For example, that vertical light, and then when the light starts spreading on the horizon, we have to go back to the verse of the Holy Quran. كلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر. So in Surah Baqarah, verse 187, Allah Ta'ala makes it very clear what we are really concerned about. The beginning of your Fajr time. And Fajr begins when that light that spreads across the horizon, that is called the tabayyun. So the white light thread of light distinguishable from the white thread of light, the black thread and white thread, meaning that is your beginning of your Fajr. So what the point is, you know, 18 degrees simply means it is the true dawn. But I cannot go into much detail, as you know, I know you have many callers. Just understand, true dawn is when it is astronomically 18 degrees.
We have to stop there, Shaykh. Thank you
Okay.
for joining us. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.